now that it's a free ball to play, Aaron Ofoirov with the quick tap, and again, you can see the frustration there from Ian Munyani. I mean, if it is an open play and it's a penalty, then you might as well swing the ball out and let the teams play. If you keep it close, then you're going to run the same risk that Aaron has actually done. They are going to just the referee will blow it twice and stop the advantage.
Yeah, that's the frustration that was on the face of Timothy Mudola there. Was if it looks could kill, then that one would definitely have killed somebody, because somehow you feel that maybe the Rugby Cranes, and that has been the story throughout this tournament, decision making has been one of those big talking points.
Yeah, one of the things that clearly comes out, and I kept saying we need to give this team some patience, because they are going through new structures. So, and the fact that we haven't been with them and what they have been training in terms of the different gameplays, we'll have to just give them time, watch them play a few more tests, and then possibly we'll start to understand. But that was a penalty advantage. We had a free ball to play. I think Aaron Ofoirov should have just sent it wide to Liam Walker, and then you let the backs have a run at it, because you have strong runners in Adrian Casito, you see Timothy Chinziaga on this side. You just let the backs play and see what comes out of there.
Another scrummage for the Rugby Cranes with already 11 minutes played. No points on the board, but the Rugby Cranes dominating Ivory Coast. Good save that Ivory Coast also holding their own in trying to keep the Rugby Cranes at bay. Because if you look at the dominance, for many, the expectation would have been that the Rugby Cranes should have had some points on the board by now.
If the Rugby Cranes had kept the ball in hand, then possibly there would have been some points to come. Again, we have talked about how clinical the Uganda Rugby Cranes are. They have had a couple of visits to the opponent's 22, but have then not managed. So there we go. Liam Walker, Ian Munyani straight to the line, cannot hold it, and again handling error at a very critical point, and the Rugby Cranes lose an opportunity. But then there was collapse over the scrum, so it's going to be a yellow card to Ivory Coast. Shot number 3, we'll get a confirmation of that. Must be Tiede Kone. We'll get a confirmation shortly as he collapsed the scrum there. So Uganda get advantage, but they must be wary of the errors that they continue to commit. Oh yeah, I think it was a much better attempt. Yeah. I think if Ian had get that ball to the basket, then he would have caused a lot of trouble for the Ivory Coast team. But as it was, remember the ball is slippery, so any contact on the player would then force it to splatter. Advantage to the Uganda Rugby Cranes in that the Cote d'Ivoire have to change an outfield player to replace them with the prop who has been sent to the sin bin, and then they have the numeric advantage. They really need to take advantage of this. I would love to see them swing this ball out wide to Adrian Casito at the number
11, and again it's a penalty to the Ivorians.
As are losing his footing.
So advantage lost. It's Frank Anokoa of Ivory Coast, the Lucid, was being sin binned. So they'll be playing with 14 minutes for the next 10 or so minutes. It remains scoreless here. Nambole in this 7th-8th place playoff game.
I spoke about this earlier, where you have sustained pressure in the opponent's 22. And then
we don't make it count.
So you don't leave with 3 points, you don't leave with 5 points. That in itself is squandered possession, squandered territory, and it has been the story of the Rugby Africa Cup this year. As Traore clears it, it will come into the basket of Philip Okorachi.
Finds Adrian Casito, who also kicks. Straight into touch there, so it's going to be a line out for Ivory Coast. Bit of pressure on the Rugby Cranes there, as we've been talking about some of the decision making. You think that Adrian should have kicked the ball, or should have just attacked that space and gone for
the breakdowns, build some phases of play, recycle the ball, and all that.
I think Adrian Casito had a lot of time to actually measure that kick and send it long, as opposed to trying to side foot it into touch. I think he had a lot more time than he actually made it out to be. But it's a line out to the Ivorians.
There's a rolling maul here by the Ivorians here as they try to get advantage, but then there's possession there. But so high tackle, so penalty to the Ivorians as they get into the Rugby Cranes 22.
Let me not be the devil's advocate, but every time we get into such positions after sustaining all this pressure we concede.
So and now what has happened is that Traore has kicked the ball into touch for a line out to Ivory Coast.
Again,
there's a high tackle by of course Aaron Ofoiroth. He should be treading carefully, otherwise he'll get himself sin bin. It's another line out for Ivory Coast, and it is Ismail Martin, and he's the flanker and he's the one doing the throwing. Okay, previously he's played as the hooker. No wonder why he's been shifted as of course Abdullahi. Ivory Coast doing well at the breakdown, Abdullahi, and then there's a breaking of the lines, and we'll get a confirmation on whether that's a try. And yes,
try time.
It is a try for Cote d'Ivoire after they get into Uganda's 22 for the first time. They convert and they get the 5 points, and it is 5-0 after 16 minutes. I'm sure that for the Rugby Cranes, they'll be looking back at the opportunities that they've had in this game and how they did not take advantage. And that's a try by shot number 5. That is the lock of Ivory Coast. Just look at how he picks up the ball there in the replay. And he touches down, and there was quick celebration from the Ivorians, and that is Hamed Diarra. 5-0. Can they convert as well from Traore? Yes, he comes close, not quite. Remains 5-0. And like you had said, Alan Musoke, that you didn't want to be a devil's advocate, but you predicted this. It is 5-0 to Ivory Coast as it stands. The Rugby Cranes will be relegated to the lower tier.
Yeah, it has been the story of Rugby Africa Cup, that Uganda Rugby Cranes sustained pressure in very, very good areas, and then you leave it as Emiemo picks his ball. But that has been a very, very good and clinical play at the restart.
Ball is recycled there by a pass again, and now Collins Timboa goes down, presents the ball, and then Aaron Ofoiroth continue with the recycle. It's now the captain Byron Oketayon, pegged back by the Ivorians, and now Aaron Ofoiroth finds Adrian Casito, and now it's Liam Walker, evades the tackler, then he finds on the outside, finds of course Timothy Kisiga, makes major strides into enemy territory, and now getting the ball is of course the lanky gentleman, and that is Ian Munyani for the Rugby Cranes. They continue to recycle. Can they find the opening? And now it is the captain Byron Oketayot. They seem to be smelling blood here, and now can see the player that is doing the work of the scrum half is Adrian Casito. Ball presented. Aaron Ofoiroth now gets the ball to Collins Chimboa. Liam Walker, he finds Timothy Kisiga. Short pass to find Aturinda Alex, and he's about to touch down, and it's going to be a try. That is a leveler for the Rugby Cranes soon after they conceded. That was real persistence, Alan.
Alex Aturinda touching down, and yes, that is the kind of play that you would want the Uganda Rugby Cranes swinging the ball with some intent. I thought there were a few, they're trying to be a little too elaborate there as pass again, first of all, pass to Collins Chimboa. But Alex Aturinda with the power and the pace, stretching off 2-3 defenders, and he dots down.
That is a timely leveler here, and one that should help the Rugby Cranes build some momentum. Combination made at Kings Park between Timothy Kisiga and Alex Aturinda, the champions in the Nice Special Rugby Premiership. And it's now Philip Okorach with the duties to convert. Can he split the poles? He fails. It was quite a difficult angle, I must point out, to get that ball split in the poles. Wouldn't you think, Alan?
Yeah, I think that kick was a little quite far the distance. But again, good first of play. I just want to bring you something, Vianney, and to the viewers. We are the team who have gifted Cote d'Ivoire their first try of the tournament, and it was a go-ahead try. So this is the first time that Cote d'Ivoire has actually scored, and they, for a moment there, they were leading 5-0. Again, a lot of work to do on the defensive structures of the Uganda Rugby Cranes. But it's all back to parity. 5-5 in the first half of this game.
Good reception there by the big man Elfaz Emong, but then he loses the ball. It's a knock on there by the Rugby Cranes. Ball to the Ivorians. They are playing with real intent here. And I must say, their confidence must be boosted now that they were able to get the first try.
Cote d'Ivoire is now going to become a whole different proponent, because it is about giving them belief in knowing that they can now cross the white line. Other teams that they have played have not given them that kind of glory, and the Uganda Rugby Cranes has just done that. That said, Elfaz Emong needs to go into contact, tuck the ball into the other shoulder so that it is well protected by the body. He went with ball in hand, and the same hand or the same shoulder is on the way into contact, and that's why that ball squatted out. Scrum down, Cote d'Ivoire ball.
And earlier this week, Uganda dropped from 41st to 48 as the breaking of the lines here by Abdullahi of Ivory Coast feeds the ball to the shot. The gentleman that was just nearest to him there, and that is Hamed Diarra. But the ball is turned over. It's now Ian Munyani for the Rugby Cranes. Goes down as Byron Oketayot rescues him from the tackler. Aaron Oforoth with the box kick. Well received there by Basono of Ivory Coast. Now Traore tackled there by Philip Okorach, and he fumbled the ball here. That is Ivory Coast. Ball goes straight into touch, and that was Nakanabo.
Yeah, again, a box kick by Aaron Oforo doesn't find touch, but the chase is not as intent. I think
that's true.
The Uganda Rugby Cranes need to apply some more pressure. We saw Joseph Aredo push, but no numbers on his outside were enough to be able to squeeze Ivory Coast into their area. As you see that ball squatting, and a difficult ball to pick up. It is not something that Issa Basono would pick up very, very quickly.
And it must be slippery as well because of the downpour that we had a while ago. Is Ugandan fans in full voice here, blowing the vuvuzelas, celebrating that leveler. And that definitely must have restored some belief, because Ivory Coast took the lead and the line out well executed there. Emiemo, good thrower. Julius Opio picks it up.
And Frank Anokoa is back, so Cote d'Ivoire is back to full complement. As Aaron Oforoth
kicks again, but well picked up here by Ivory Coast. It was the fullback. That's Ismail Nakanabo. And the kick again for territory, and that looks like a brilliant kick.
Joseph Jadwong Aredo gets the territory advantage for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. That 50-22 tactic that has been used by many, he sized it up. He saw that there was no one outfield, applies violence to the rugby ball, and gets the roll in the 22. Emiemo with the responsibility of finding the jumper. What a play by Joseph Aredo.
Edward Emiemo, the Walukwa Barbarians hooker, to throw the ball in, gets it well sized up, and it finds Julius Opio. But then Rugby Cranes securing the rack here. And now Edward Emiemo picks it up in beastly mode, presents the ball. Aaron Oforoth gets it again, and he finds Liam Walker on the outside, finds Ian Munyani tackled there, but continues to gain territory. He goes down. Is he able to present the ball?
he does. Aaron Oforoth is on hand to pick it up, gets it back into the midfield here, and now Liam Walker finds Colin Stimbwa, uses his mass there to bulldoze his way, but Ivory Coast is not about to allow that, and then Edward Emiemo loses the ball in contact. That's another knock-on. It's been quite commonplace for the rugby playing through this tournament, but the whistle will go even after that kick by Ivory Coast, because they didn't seem to gain any advantage there. Still the same problem with Edward Emiemo there? It's the same problem that we saw with Elfaz Emong?
No, that was a smart defensive play by the Ivorians. What they did was just tug at Emiemo's hand, which means the ball squats out as Abdurai Eyabami, the scrum half, has been nudged by Elfaz Emong. So he is in some form of discomfort as Elfaz Emong went for the touchdown. With 25 minutes played, it is all square. Cote d'Ivoire 5, Uganda Rugby Cranes 5. And get energized with Rock Boom, because at this point in time, absolutely, you need to be refreshed. And Rock Boom, thank you so much, as well as Omo. In the mud that we have,
yeah, exactly,
you
just
can always
a strong detergent, and Omo does it best.
That's true. As some of our sponsors come through, of course, would like to thank Rugby Africa for giving the federation a chance to host
for the second successive year.
Yes, for second, and these are Rugby World Cup qualifiers. By the end of this evening, we will have one of the teams with a straight ticket
to the Rugby World Cup in Australia in 2027. Still some time away, but I'll tell you that the stakes are pretty high. It's a scrummage for Ivory Coast, and it is Abibulaye Oyebamji feeds the ball in, picks it out, and kicks for territory, but the ball is an attempt by Adrian Casito to receive it before he went into touch, but it slipped out of his grasp and went straight into touch. Be reminded that if you are looking for financial rescue, it is the platinum credit that will give you that cushion. Just get your financial services offered by platinum credit, and you get yourself sorted out on every sort of transaction that you want to make. So line out for Ivory Coast, and Ismail Martin, the flanker, is the one with the duties of throwing the ball in. A bit unusual.
Well, I think in an attempt to freshen up their squad, they actually gave him the number 7 position. But in essence, his duties will remain as Traore skies it, and Mr. Safe Hands Timothy Chisiga lets that
battered fingers there, and then there seemed to have been a knock-on there. As we wait, there was a whistle blown.
Saving the blushes.
Yeah, it's a ball to Uganda, because that ball had slipped out of the hands of Timothy Kisiga.
That said, I don't think the experiment of Adrian Casito at fullback is working out very well. What do you think?
Yeah, I just feel that the job that he had been doing previously as a winger was pretty good, if you ask me. But thinking that the coaches are also trying out new things to try and find the right balance. It's a scrummage to the Rugby Cranes.
Aaron Ofoiro
closer shot there
with the ball in hand.
Closer shot of what happens in that danger zone as the two sets of players crouch, bind and set. This fade in. Pass Ogena finds Aaron Oforoth, kicks for territory. The fullback there picks Ismail Nakanabo, so returns the favor. Well received by Liam Walker now, as Aaron Oforoth runs at the Ivorians. Goes down. Picked up there by Ian Munyani. Timothy Kisiga tackled there, pressed back, but the ruck is well secured by Saul Chivumbi here coming in to support. Aaron Oforoth picks it up, finds Collins Chimbo, finds Ian Munyani, his teammate at Cobb's Rugby Club. Presents the ball there. Aaron Oforoth quickly gets it out. Liam Walker kicks for territory, but not far enough. But the chase is on by Adrian Casito to try and get Nakanabo. Play momentarily stops.
Yeah, tackling somebody without the ball, and either that is late or tackle somebody without the ball. That is a penalty to the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Timothy Mudola looking on, and I'm sure he's thinking we need to get some more points on the board, and the players should up the ante.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bit of an anti-climax that has gripped the game now since the try. As I don't know, Forrest tried to find touch there, but the Ivorians are very smart in reacting. Now it is Pius Ogena, the 8th man, whistling his way past a few markers, goes down the rack there. Aaron Oforoth in support. The Rugby Cranes, Collins Chimbo, or rather it was Saul Chivumbi, finds Pius Ogena. Now it is Joseph Aredo, Liam Walker. Good recycling and good play there coming in from Adrian Casito to find Alex Aturinda, who breaks the lines, and Adrian Casito under the post. It is the second try, scintillating rugby by the Rugby Cranes.
Oh yeah, Alex Aturinda with a strong busting run into the line, and he has a peace of mind because I think he had Adrian Casito calling on his inside shoulder. He beat the defenders with his blistering pace. Adrian Casito with the support. It was a perfect pass, and that is the kind of rugby that you know the Uganda Rugby Cranes can produce on a good day.
And that is the replay of the moment as Alex Aturinda, who got the first try, already he must be on the shortlist for man of the match, at least in the first half, looking at the kind of contribution, breaking the lines, finding Adrian Casito, and then the touchdown just between the posts, going to be conversion to Philip Wokorach, and it is well executed. It is 12-5, Rugby Cranes doing their utmost to save their blushes here.
Oh yeah, and I think that is the kind of energy that you want now from the fans. Now can the Uganda Rugby Cranes pick it up from here, receive the kickoff, and continue to apply pressure? You need to get at least 40 points on this Cote d'Ivoire side to save your blushes from a tournament.
Well, aren't you being over enthusiastic, Alan? 40 points?
Well, if you see how quickly that try turned from attack to defense, it first of all began with Pius Ogena.
Well, I think what it has shown is that when the Rugby Cranes play with more speed, then they're likely to get more points a lot quicker. If you look at the previous games, the flow has been quite slow and labored.
Yeah, and also in terms of stretching the field of play, you take a few short hits, and then once you spread the ball out wide, that is where the magic is, because that is where all the pace is for the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
Aaron with the box kick. Kicks for territory. The ball bounces infield. It's well received there by Ivory Coast shot number 11, Emmanuel Huwain. Kicks back and finds Adrian Casito now. With the slalom finds his mate in Timothy Kisiga, pegged back, but presents the ball. Good phase of play, and now it's El Fazemong for the Rugby Cranes. Adrian Casito doing quite a lot of work, playing as a fullback, coming in to do the work of scrum half as well, and that is a penalty there to Ivory Coast. Not releasing the ball by the Rugby Cranes.
I think it was a case of a slow presentation there from Pius Ogena. He should have freed his hands before he went down onto the deck, and as such he was caught in possession. It was a kind of gang tackling there from the Ivorians to be able to rescue that ball as they go for the touch finder, which is good. Line out to the Ivorians. No team has managed to disrupt the other's line out, so let's see what will come of this possession.
As expected, it will be Ismail Martin doing the shot 7, but doing the hooker role, which is ordinarily the work of the shot number 2. Ismail Martin, but then there's some bit of communication from the center referee about his position. He's going to try and make sure he gets that ball through that gate straight for fair contest. This time he does it as he has been, and Ivory Coast win the line out. They've been doing well on their own line outs. It's now Ivory Coast Abibulaye. But then penalty to the Rugby Cranes as they did not support their weight. That is Ivory Coast.
No, it was actually Alex Aturinda in with the jackal, and then there were hands in the rack there by Cote d'Ivoire. But Alex Aturinda again doing his defensive work, taking the hit and going for the jackal as the fans keep encouraging. That is Becky from Vivo Energy. Vivo Energy has actually done a good job in ensuring that the teams have enough fuel to move up and down through the trainings and also to the match. Well done to Vivo Energy.
There's not been any inconvenience to the teams in as far as their traveling is concerned. It's going to be line out to the Rugby Cranes after that swift turnover that was instigated by Alex Aturinda. So far, so good from him. Aaron Oforoth finds Jadwong, Joseph Aredo, who finds Ian Munyani. Combination that has worked as magic at club level, and then there's a knock-on by the Rugby Cranes.
Again, the Uganda Rugby Cranes being a little too intricate. I thought it was a good run by Timothy Chisiga. The pass possibly was running into contact as well. So I think Aaron Afori should have just played the ball out wide to Philip and then be able to recycle. And then you can do the fancy moves or do the other moves as you come through. So another guilt and gifting possession to the Ivorians.
Abibulaye to feed the ball in. Oye Bamji. Picks the ball out quite quickly. Plays it on the outside. Find the midfielder Jacques Landry Lepri. But then the pressure coming in and on Osono there. That is Ismail Nakanabo. Ivory Coast kick for territory, and the referee indicates for an offside there by the Rugby Cranes, so it's going to be a penalty. And then the Ivory Coast technical bench signaling the players to be calm.
It is not something you've done a lot of work to get that defensive stop and a chance to clear your line. So it's about having a cool head, and I think they're going to pass the ball over to, is that Basono?
It's like Nakanabo.
Yeah. And kind of scuffs it, but that's what you want. You want the ball into touch, so the distance might have wanted more.
Yeah, definitely. He must have wanted more, not to just kick it into the 10. He definitely could not have wanted to play it right into the 10 instead of the 22.
You might want to go longer.
He might
and end up handing the ball back to the opposition. Like I said, both teams have not disrupted the other team's line-outs much. So they have actually been having good line-out routines. As you see, the Ivorians come through, they come in late, and it is a quick jump.
Abibulaye kicks for territory. Well received there by Philip Okoraj, who finds Adrian Casito. Puts pressure on the Ivorians, and it's Nakanabo, and Adrian Casito already arrived. Nakanabo breaks the lines, goes through the heart of that midfield of the Rugby Cranes, and he gets the support of Oman. Obaboro Doso picks it up, and there's heavy tackling there by the Rugby Cranes, but that was not good defending by the Rugby Cranes as they allow the ball straight into their 22. And it's now Ivory Coast Zakari Koulibaly. And then the persistence is there. Is there a touchdown there? Referee not raising his hand means that Ivory Coast still looking for an opportunity for a try, but the ball is hanging. So it's going to be ball, no try for Cote d'Ivoire, but they seem to be calm. Alan, You're thinking about the way the Ivory Coast side broke through and got straight onto the defense. Well, it is a try to Ivory Coast. The hand signal as the touchline judge, after the consultation, he confirmed that there was a touchdown, so it's going to be second try to Ivory Coast, and it is offered by the Rugby Cranes. That is 10-12.
With a kick to follow, Nakanabo, they are returning that kick with interest and finding some of his players. So, like we talked about the kick and the chase, the kick is only as good as the chase. Adrian Casito lets it fly. Nakanabo returns with interest, and then brilliant phase of play there by the Ivorians, leading to a touchdown. Again, they use their big boys. I think Sol Chivumbi and Collins Chimbo have to make some work to actually come and be able to contest with this.
Traore with the conversion. Can he split the poles? Unfortunately, he is unable, and it remains 10-12 with about a minute or two to play in this first half. That's not something I can bet, Alan, will impress the Rugby Cranes coaches, seeing the way Ivory Coast has got back into this one.
Yeah, it is not the good structure in terms of defense that you would want. The kick was good. It got some distance. Alex Aturinda manages to gather this ball, and the restart is good by the Uganda Rugby Cranes. It has been stolen. However,
the defender, on the ground was not
the defender did not release the player in the contact, and as such, they will point to the post by Noketa Yacht, Philip Okorach with a chance for the extras. As we're talking about it, the phase of play in terms of defense leaves a lot to be desired, because you can't leave somebody to get 30-40 meters yard run on you, and that is something that the Uganda Rugby Cranes have to change.
Yeah, and of course it has been the story of this tournament. Defensively, they've really looked porous. Philip Okorach to extend the Rugby Cranes lead from 2 to at least 5, if he can split the poles here. He's got 25 seconds to get that ball between those poles. And no, it is not.
Philip Okorach, clean strike of the ball, had that distance but not the accuracy. As you see some of the fans holding their heads, they just can't believe that was skewed wide. Not a good game he's having by his standards, but again, it's still early days, still have another 1 minute or so, but the hooter is going to sound anytime now as that 22 drop kick goes. Adrian Casito with a chance.
He finds Ian Munyani. They play together for quite a bit at Cobbs, and then Timothy Kisiga tackled, and the ball is ripped away by the Ivorians. That's good defensive play by Ivory Coast. Timothy Kisiga clearly lacked the support as Ivory Coast decided to play the ball out, choosing to go for the halftime break.
Yep, the hooter has gone. It is halftime. It is the Uganda Rugby Cranes 12, Cote d'Ivoire 10. Cote d'Ivoire scoring their first tries of the tournament in this game. Second half coming up, and handing you over to the team at pitchside.
Rugby 16,000. Get 5 bottles of ESP chairman. Very mono, 35% discount.
Simple. Go for Uganda. Go for Uganda.
Gonna be a drop.
Bring you the 7th, 8th place playoff game between the Rugby Cranes of Uganda and the Elephants of Ivory Coast. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Alan Musoke. Seeing that first half, Alan, clearly the Rugby Cranes are really risking the fact that they have kept Ivory Coast in the game. Your thoughts on how that first half went?
First half was, I think it was a lot of indecisiveness from the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Had a lot of pressure, failed to utilize it in terms of turn it into points, in terms of territory. They were up ahead in terms of possession. They were edging that. They need to be a lot more clinical. They need to be a lot more incisive. Alex Aturinda seems to be doing all the good things and having all the good stuff to do. Yeah. Adrian Casito at fullback is also steady, but we need more runs to be played in to our faster backs. I think there's need for better chase defense on the kick, because that is where Cote d'Ivoire has managed to make inroads. Yeah. Philip Okorach is yet to be as involved in the game as he would want to be.
Yeah, exactly. As the second half is already underway with about 40 seconds played, as Ivory Coast struggle right there on the high ball, put under pressure. So it's a scrummage to the Rugby Cranes. As you can see there, it's not been the kind of fluid play from the Rugby Cranes, and especially defensively. They've had problems, as the Ivory Coast now seems to be putting pressure on the scrummage, and it is ball to Ivory Coast. They've done better on the first scrummage of the second half, Alan. That is where you probably start thinking that maybe changes would be of the essence, because Rugby Cranes are not the best of start that they've had to the second half.
Again, that's just a shuffle, and I hope the momentum does not really shift to Cote d'Ivoire, because they have a chance to clear their lines. Traore is lining up on the right-hand side of that scrum. The Uganda Rugby Cranes are guilty of, again, squandering another possession. Still early days in the second half, but you wouldn't want to put and make it as indecisive as it will be, as
it has been right there. Good reception by Adrian Casito. Evades the tackler and he breaks the lines. Adrian, he finds Philip Wokorach also in through the middle. And is it an opportunity for him to get another try? Rack is secured as Aaron Oforoth keeps the ball moving to Alex Aturinda. Cross-court pass, and now
Aredo
breaks the lines and he celebrates before touching down, and it is a try for the Rugby Cranes, taking their tally to 17. That was a brilliant play. I must credit Adrian Casito for the way he broke the lines and created space to find Philip Wokorach, with whom they play in France. And it is now 17-10. Good start for the Rugby Cranes. For a moment, I'm sure the fans were wondering, especially when they lost the ball there at the scrummage, that was this going to be a nightmare second half. And just look at the reaction of Aaron Oforoth as he picks the ball up, and then he finds Alex Aturinda with that very long pass on the far side to try and find the overload, and he does that. And then look at that, Joseph Aredo celebrates with the touchdown, and that is the Rugby Cranes' third try of the game. As Liam Walker now with the responsibility for the extras. Duty is taken away from Philip Wokoracho. It's about sharing them.
It's about sharing them, and also possibly let Liam Walker get into his stride. He is very, very accurate, especially in the near play. But you've seen his range, and we know what kind of damage he can do off the boot. Just let him play, let him do what it is that he knows how to do, and that is a very, very good score by the Uganda Rugby Cranes. They need to keep the momentum up. They need to keep playing in the right areas of the field.
But I'm sure that the Ivory Coast will be feeling that it is just a setback, a momentary one, and they can get back into the game. It is just 4 minutes played in the second half, and the change being made here as shot number 22, Benjamin Maurice, is introduced by Ivory Coast, as it appears Traore, the shot 10, the fly half, is being taken off, and he seems to be walking gingerly, as you can see there. That is Traore in your picture. He's been taken off. Amadou Sekou Traore. Not had the best of games so far, Alan. I guess Ivory Coast will not feel like they've been set aback by his absence.
No, Traore has been not very clinical, and also his kicks have not been as accurate as they need to be for a person of his. He's got caught in a number of different positions with ball in hand. So I think the coach has just tried to freshen things up, and see, as Aaron Ofoiroth lets the ball fly.
And it bounces into the 22, but you think that it will be well picked up.
Watch out for this kick, because
Dosso plays the ball into touch.
Yeah, kicks it.
Just something that was the right idea from Dosso.
Well, in the game that he played before, I think that was against Senegal, Dosso actually did have a big kick. It was a 50-22, so he is capable of doing it. I think he was just caught at the wrong end of the field, at the wrong side of the field, where he doesn't have an accurate angle. It is an injury, and I saw it was players colliding a little bit. The tackle, possibly a twist to the knee. Hope it's not too serious there for the number 22 of Cote d'Ivoire,
who was just being introduced by the Benjamin Maurice. Now it would be a disaster if he were to be taken off soon after he's just been introduced. As the Rugby Cranes prepare the line out, courtesy of Edward Emiemu. Well, there's been a lot of criticism leveled at the Rugby Cranes throughout the week, as another change is made, and we can see that Fad Maido has been introduced, and as a change is made in the Rugby Cranes, we'll get a confirmation on who he has replaced, but most likely Collins Chimboa, because he's a tight end, as Collins Chimboa is, as the maul doesn't get to roll as far as Collins Chimboa's one that has been with Donna Sochi Gumizon. And on the far side, another very good interplay as Timothy Kisiga ascends to the try line, and it's another one for the Rugby Cranes. That was ship ball movement by the Rugby Cranes as they celebrate another try. That is what it means to them. The fact that their cushion is being set to try and make sure that they are part of the Rugby Africa Cup next year, and it's now another try, 24 points to the Rugby Cranes.
Yeah, that is a very, very good piece of play. Ball in two hands and sending it out. Timothy Chisiga had only one thing in his mind: tuck it in, open up the lungs and dive for the try line. That is a beauty by Timothy Chisiga. That is why he's at the wing. We thought he hasn't had a lot of ball to work with, but once given that space, he will definitely punch you. And look at that bounce. That is what you want a winger to do, and
he did
the
that
conversion
quite well.
to follow. Yes,
exactly.
He did that quite well.
Good start. 6 minutes played in the second half. Already 2 tries by the Rugby Cranes. And can Mulalu split the poles? Yes, he does. Liam Walker makes it 26 to the Rugby Cranes. The kind of start that the fans have been praying for since match day 1 on July the 8th. And as it stands, the Rugby Cranes in good control. And if they can maintain this, then they possibly will be maintaining their status in the Rugby Africa Cup positions for next season. What a kick that is from Liam Walker. That was not the easiest of angles to get the ball split in the paws, but this man has done it week in, week out for his club, the Buffaloes, in the league. Scratch and go here, but then the whistle is blown by the referee. So it's going to be a scrummage to the Rugby Cranes. So far, so good. Quite impressed by the way the Rugby Cranes have started the second half.
Oh yes, I'm very, very impressed with how they began this half, and they are keeping ball in hand and getting it into the wide areas.
But also decisive.
We said that if you can get this ball into the wide areas quickly enough, then you're going to open up those spaces. You saw how Filippo Korach did cause a lot of havoc. You've seen how quick hands and Adrian Casito gets it to Timothy Chisiga. That is the kind of rugby that you want. And when the set pieces are steady, it then locks the Ivorians in. So we just have to keep getting this ball out wide, because that is where the danger will actually come from.
Of course, Aaron finds Ian Munyani. That combination from the Sevens national team continues to thrive here as he steps out, unfortunately, and it's going to be a ball to Ivory Coast. It's a line out. Ivory Coast possibly should have released the ball earlier.
No, he did. I think he did the exact thing. After bumping the player, he should have actually looked for ground so that he does not burn on 2 touch. He did exactly. There was no space for Phil Korach unless he was coming in on the switch. But that said, they are now being a lot more decisive and taking the gaps, taking the game to the Ivorians, and that is what you would want to see in terms of play. And they keep it rolling, and as long as we can keep running the game as well as this, it is going to be the 40 points that I asked for.
It's just 14 points left to get to the 40-point mark as the whistle goes here. It's a penalty to Ivory Coast.
Yep, and the penalty is caused because one of the players collapsed the ball illegally, and that is giving the Ivorians a chance to clear their lines. You're supposed to sack the man down as soon as he comes down, and once they start moving, then you can't make an attempt to bring the ball down or chop the feet of the person with the ball, and that's what the penalty has been given for.
So Ivory Coast with the line out, they've been doing well on the line outs. I just feel that the Rugby Cranes need to contest a lot more on the line outs that Ivory Coast has had.
My suggestion would actually be you move Julius. Okay, they've now shuffled it around. Bias Ogena will be contesting the ball either at 4 or the one at the back of the line. They just need to move Aito Shapa between Eliphaz Emong and I think that's Fahad Maido. They just need to move a little quicker so that they can contest that ball. Right there, Julius Opio gets it, and that is very good defensive work by the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
Aredo now kicks for touch here. Can the ball get? Oh, it's well received this time by Nakanabo of Ivory Coast.
And Nakanabo there showing that he can't do it with both hands.
It's Joseph Aredo looking for space, looking for support. He goes down, presents the ball, and the rack is well secured. As I don't know, for Rod, you can see him peering through, trying to see where he can place the ball. And the kick there by Ian Munyani. Pressure on the Ivorians. The referee feels that it's okay for the play to go on, and ball is kicked out by Mibulaye. The scrum half, well picked up by I don't know who's been quite fired up, as Philip goes into contact, presents the ball. This penalty. Didn't release the ball.
Yeah, he was caught. He was caught in no man's land. Tried to do a little wiggles, but he was not able to escape the attentions of Abdullahi as you see him stretching down here. But that was very good defensive work there because he was not phased, kept his eyes on the target, made the tackle, and then Dosso was able to come over and force the turnover.
The kick there by Dosso.
The kick was by Nakanabo, managing to find touch.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, Dosso is the man with the longest tights in the whole of ruck.
It's going to be a line out to Ivory Coast. Ismail Martin has his hands on the ball. The last line out was won by Julius Opio of the Rugby Cranes. And there's no contest this time as Dosso picks it up. And then it is a penalty. Free has a word to share with the players.
Yeah, and he is talking about some of the infringements in the line out. I think they have been multiple, and Elefazemong could have been guilty of closing that space even before the player comes down. So Alex Atrinda just getting confirmation of it. Elefazemong has been told what to do. Again, it's chopping, that's tackling the player before he actually lands on his feet. The Ivorians going again for the line out. They see that is their quickest route to the try line, and they have been getting their line outs to good effect.
And it is in the 22, so they don't have so much of a distance to cover. They just need to execute well and make sure that they get that ball. That's well picked up by Dosso as they set up a rolling maul here, but they just don't seem to be making any major strides here. The Rugby Cranes hold their fort as well. But then the ball is picked up there by Abulaye. He presents it. Ismail Martin wants to pick it out. Ivory Coast hitting back is Elias Koulibaly. And then again Ismail Martin is tackled. Ivory Coast into the 5 there. The ball is still stuck in there. They pick it up and again it's now their lock. Ibrahim Traore as Fad Maido gets to do his work, and then again the big man Hamen Diarra of Ivory Coast. They want to place the ball just under the poles there, and again it's now Koulibaly, the captain. They continue recycling and then they drop the ball, but it's still picked up by Ivory Coast. They peg back and then there's a ball drop there. I thought that plays brought back as it's a penalty to Ivory Coast.
The referee was playing advantage for a high tackle there on the Ivorians from the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Got a little too anxious in terms of defense. The Ivorians will scratch and attack.
And it's Ismail Koulibaly. Ivory Coast, Newman Traore just can't get the ball, and then it is another penalty to Ivory Coast. Penalty Ivory Coast.
They have to bring it back to the 5-yard line. You can't play within that zone, so it's back to the 5-yard line for the Ivorians. So Chivumbi, you see him on all fours. They have now chosen a bigger ball carrier.
And set back and is pushed back. That is Tiede Kone. Ivory Coast trying to touch down there, but the ball is lost in contact, and Senoko and as well picked up by Alex Atrinda, who finds Philip Okorach, kicks for territory, and the chase is on. Now it's Issa Bosono picks it up. Checked down at by Aaron Oforot and Philip Okorach. Issa gets down and he was waiting for support there, and it came in.
And yes, he did it very, very cleverly there and able to get
Ismail Martin kicks the flanker.
Not only does he throw in the line out, but he can also have the touch finders, and that in itself is a good return for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. They were pegged back at their 5, knock-on close to the try line, and they managed to get some distance. They have the territory advantage.
Edward Emiemo, 56 minutes played. That's 16 in the second half. Rugby Cranes leading 26-10 against Cote d'Ivoire. If it remains as it is, then Cote d'Ivoire will be relegated to the lower division. And they will not be part of the Rugby Africa Cup next year. But there's still a lot of time to play as Santos Senteza is introduced, coming in for Saul Chivumbi. I guess this is normally the time the props are normally substituted when you get to about the 60-point mark, or rather the 60-minute mark. And that's exactly what Fred Mudola has done, the coach of the Rugby Cranes.
I think John Vian Nsimbe, you've seen quite enough rugby now to be and make the coaching stint. So I will give you I'll give you props for that. Yes, that's about the same time that Prop has done and maximized his output, as Ian Munyani is left for dead.
Nakanabo
breaks the line. He has support outside him.
Forward pass, and then it dishes it out, and that's going to be another try for Ivory Coast, and it is executed by Emmanuel Hotono, giving Ivory Coast
the reprieve.
Believe 15 points to 26, and he places the ball in a very good position where you expect them to convert. And that came from the knock-on by the Rugby Cranes from their own line out.
Yeah, failed to gather off the knock-on. However, the defense line should have been able to hold. Adrian Casito, of course, was forced to play that, and Liam Walker couldn't cover quick enough in terms of the defense. That is a line break from Cote d'Ivoire. They haven't been able to do that all tournament long, and they are finding inroads into the Uganda Rugby Cranes defense lines.
Well, they've got 3 tries already in this game, as Ismail Nakanabo has the duty to convert, reduce the deficit, can get them to 17, then it will be a 9-point game. Yes, he split the polls. It's now 17-26, 9-point game, and it is game on. If the pressure had been eased up earlier on when the Rugby Cranes made those 2 quick fire tries earlier on in the second half, now the pressure is back on, and we have 22 minutes left to play. Quite a lot of time to be precise. I think there's still a lifetime to play, and Ivory Coast will feel that they've got it in themselves to get a couple more points off this Rugby Crane side. There's a knock on there by Ivory Coast, so it's going to be a scrummage. Rugby Cranes have had some real weaknesses that have been exposed in this tournament, especially defensively. As we can see there, Desire Era has also been introduced. We'll get a confirmation on whom he has replaced. It's to be a number. So yeah, he's replaced the captain Byron Oketayot at number 7. It's the flanker. But defensively, Alan, Rugby Cranes have got work to do.
Yes,
even after this game.
Defensively, there's a lot of work that needs to do. We need to plug those defense lines and plug the lines. I think it just comes with playing together and having the trust for your teammates as it should be. So, and that comes really with time and experience. Aaron Ofoiroth with the quick tap. Ball in hand. Ian Munyani with the switch.
The whistle goes.
Yeah.
The referee
does bring it back
the way at the point at which they started, so it still remains a penalty to the Rugby Cranes. I guess it was illegal entry from Ivory Coast, and they are going for poles.
Yeah. Liam Walker is interested, wants to increase this gap from the 9 that it is to something more desirable.
Points?
Yes, all I can say is as long as you keep the scoreboard ticking, then you apply more pressure onto your opponents. So I think it's a wise decision to go for the points that you can, get them early, so that if you're looking for that try later or you're looking for that separator, they have a lot more work to do to cover. So take all the points that you have on offer as quickly as they come.
Liam Walker to make it 29-17 for the Rugby Cranes. He sets the ball flying and he splits the paws, and it's now 29-17. Liam Walker, the fly half, is doing the job here at the Nelson Mandela Stadium. Keeps the fans in celebratory mode, as doesn't want them to yarn for long without any points being added to what has been accumulated. 29-17, the Rugby Cranes.
It is now about time that they get the defense lines right, because you can't be trading blows, you can't be exchanging punches, and there
it's a knock on there.
Eliphaz Emong again, the ball squats out of his hands.
Abubulaye, there's a knock on there, so it's Ivory Coast committed knock on, but then they still have the advantage since the first knock-on was by the Rugby Cranes.
Yeah, the referee goes back to the first infringement as the Ivorians continue to ring the changes. There is need for more line speed, and that's what the coach is asking them to do. Just apply the pressure and keep the pressure moving.
Well, this is normally one of the members of the coaching staff, but not the head coach.
Yes. Possibly transferring messages from the head coach onto the teams, because the head coach is seeing and has a bird's eye view of everything that's happening.
When ball is fed in by the substitute, and that is Osmani Koulibaly for Ivory Coast, and now it's Ismail Nakanabo sent out into touch, so it's going to be a line out for the Rugby Cranes, as you can see. Joseph Aredo. So Edward Emiemo trudges to the touchline for the line out with 63 minutes played, 17 to go. Still a lot of time for either side to create a living daylight between themselves and the opponent. And good line out there, and this time it is picked up by Pius Ogena. There is a rolling maul. And it finally goes on as Aaron Oforoth kicks for territory, but the ball doesn't go for the box kick as Koulibaly knocks on the ball, but the whistle goes, and it's going to be a ball for the Rugby Cranes.
And as we roll towards the end of this game, I have just received the adjusted timesheets for the finals. The final will kick off at 4:40 p.m. That is 40 minutes after the prescribed time, and that's because of the overtime that was played in the first game of the day. So 4:40 is the official kickoff time for the final, as Andrew Kabura they are enjoying.
And of course,
Chigundu
as well.
We have some power people in the grounds, and they're just enjoying. I don't know if he understands the game or is just looking at big boys just pulling each other's shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Pulling their shots. And I was wondering why the ball is deflated.
Yeah.
It has a very odd shape.
Yeah.
As the team's taking some
water, an opportunity to land.
Yeah, Timothy Mudola there, and I think giving Eliphaz Emong some
so this is really an opportunity to take a little more rock boom to re-energize, and that's exactly what the players are doing. So if you need renewed energy, just get yourself a rock boom.
I'm sure the fans in the stands are enjoying the festivities, considering the fact that the Uganda Rugby Cranes, as William Bleak,
former union president of the Uganda Rugby Union.
Yes, he was
during your playing days.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. He's gone through the furnace here also. I'm sure that he's been through the highs and the lows of Ugandan rugby, and he's used to it. That is William Bleak.
Yeah, he was actually coming off. He was the president coming off our winning campaign in 2007. So he managed that transition all through there. So he did a very, very decent job. And the good thing is he's still in sports administration with the Uganda International. Olympic Committee. So William Blick is a very, very good member.
He was previously with the Uganda Olympic Committee as well.
17 for Cote d'Ivoire, 29 for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, 64 or 65 minutes played. That's another 15 to go to the end of this game.
Penalty to the Rugby Cranes as the Ivorians just did not execute well on the scrummaging there.
Yep, they are guilty of illegal scrummaging there, not driving from the side. But that also comes with the pressure that the Uganda Rugby Cranes are applying onto that scrum. Line out to the Uganda Rugby Cranes, who lead 29-17, need some more points on the board to just put that cushion between them and Cote d'Ivoire.
Of course, MTN Momo is the service that you should use if you want to pay school fees. It's MTN Momo. If you want to make any transactions as well, just use MTN Momo. It's a safe way to carry your money. As Edward Emiemo, the Rugby Cranes, with a fine line out, well tapped away by Elfa Zemong, Liam Walker, and he finds Jad Wong, Joseph Aredo, goes down, presents the ball. Aaron Oforoth, not the perfect of kicks, and just charged down by the Ivorians, and it's now Koulibaly, recently introduced. The scrum half presents the ball as it has just been turned over by Ivory Coast, and now pressure mounting as well. The Rugby Cranes trying to charge down at Ivory Coast each time that they have a phase of play. Rack, and then holding onto the ball, not releasing on the ground, so it is ball to the Rugby Cranes. It's a penalty to the Rugby Cranes.
And that is another turnover by Alex Aturinda. Aaron Ofoiroth, Ian Munyani takes the responsibility, bulldozes his way. Ball to Pius Ogena, who would do with some running in this game. Presents Aaron Ofoiroth to Liam Walker. Ball goes through his hands, escapes his attentions, and what is called taking back to the earlier infringements.
So, but I also don't. I still feel that when he touched that ball, it went went behind. As substitutions are being prepared, Nathan Bwambale, the hooker, possibly replacing Edward Emiemo, and Brian Wandera. Could he be replacing Pius Ogena?
Most likely Brian Wandera might be put into the engine room, might be actually replacing Elefa Zemong. Let's wait and see how that is, because Pius Ogena is still going strong, unless Desire Yara or Alex Atrinda will be reshuffled to the number 8 position. Let's wait and see. Yep, that was a penalty. Walker. And remember, that penalty came about after Aaron Ofoiroth is quicked up. He was still tugged back, so they stopped him from running. And so they had to penalize the Ivorians for not being behind the prescribed
staff
distance.
of the Rugby Cranes communicating right up there. Liam Walker has already done well with the boot. 2 conversions and 1 penalty so far. So second penalty to him. So he's got 7 points already. Can he make it 10?
And yes, he does.
That's 32 points for the Rugby Cranes. They have created a living daylight between themselves and Cote d'Ivoire. It's now a 15-point game. Now that means that Ivory Coast have got to get 3 tries on the board.
Yeah, remember when I said when I mentioned 40 points, you actually laughed at me and asked me if it was realistic. And off comes Emiemo, on comes Nathan Bwambale. That should be a sure change. Waiting to see if Brian Wandera has also been brought on as the captain welcomes him. Koran Wanyama and William Mukore are still on the substitutes bench. Let's wait and see if they will get a few minutes to also run out in this final game. Number 4, there we go. Elefaz Emong out, so which means Brian Wandera goes into the engine room.
Yeah.
As also number 18 for Cote d'Ivoire comes on.
Edward Emiemo, Nathan Bwambale, that's a confirmation. Ball was well presented there. As I don't know, for Roth
with the box kick. Brilliant into territory as Dosu receives it quite well for Ivory Coast, and then he returns the kick. It's well picked by Aaron Ofoiroth. But you don't have to worry about dirty clothes. Just get yourself Omo, the best detergent, as we watch Adrian Casito split the lines here. And he goes down, presents the ball, and Aaron Ofoiroth right on hand makes that crossfield kick. And he find that was a big hit on Philip Wokorach as he tried to pick the ball. That was dangerous play by the Ivorians, but he's back on his feet.
Yeah, he is a big lad. He's a very, very strong lad. He tried to tap it back because he saw the onrush. He saw the onrush of the defender. It was dangerous, but the ball was up. It was contestable. So it's really a clash of bodies. I don't think there was any malicious intent. Of course, we cannot judge, but that was a very, very nasty collision. It's a good thing that Philip Wokorach and the try scored. Ian Munyani with the follow through. As we see it again, it was a clean contest.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Ian Munyani follows through. Touches down. Try time, the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
37-17 as we're nearing your 40-point mark. Now Liam Walker with the duty for the extras with about 12 minutes of play left. So maybe this could compel the coaches to make a few more changes.
But then again, you'd wonder, are you going to take Liam Walker off at this point in time, because he is on fire. He's putting it all together very, very nicely. Aaron Ofoiroth as well has been and had a very, very measured and very, very steady performance. So the only two, but it would only be fair to give every player a run for their money, as Timothy Modola looks and assesses. It's a little bit more comfortable now for the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
Liam Walker. Can he
strikes it cleanly, shaves the uprights. Unlucky there from Liam.
Came pretty close, and I'm sure that he can be forgiven for that one, especially considering that it touched the post. He came really close. So what a day he has had with that boot, Liam Walker. So they got 10 points to his credit. Remains at 37-17. It's now a 20-point game. Ivory Coast, who seemed to be quite competitive in the first half, they have suddenly let up, as you can see the look on one of their coaches' faces there, one of despondency.
And the ball goes up. Aaron Ofoiroth applies violence to the ball, finds touch, and that's kind of comfortable and safe territory for the Ivorians to be at. Aaron Ofoiroth has also had a good game, began a little jittery, gingerly, but he's managed to clean up the act. The Rugby Cranes are looking more measured, as Philip Wokorach seems to have done his time, and he seems
to be
replaced.
There
because Shakim Sembusi has entered the fray. Conrad Wanyama is on. William Mukore is on for the final 10 minutes of this encounter. Well played to Liam Walker. Well played to Aaron Ofoiroth. And it is time for these two to steady the ship and set it to very, very safe sails as Ian Munyani comes back onto the field. There was a mix-up there in terms of the substitutions.
Of course, it's a line out to the Ivory Coast. Continue recycling the ball here. Not had the best of halves as the captain Elias Koulibaly. The ball is lost in contact there. Then play continues, and again that is a knock on this time. Nathan Bwambale picks it up for the Rugby Cranes. Goes down and presents it. Rack not well secured as Ivory Coast make that steal. And then another very good attack that Ismail Nakanabo, he's tackled there. The ball goes straight into touch, so it's going to be a line out for the Rugby Cranes, according to the hand signal of the touchline judge.
Again, another get out of jail free card. Hakim Shakim Sembusi caught in no man's land there, and once you're outnumbered like that, you need to talk. Once Ivorians get their act going, they normally have a lot of space out wide, and that is worrying for the coach, as you see.
Yeah, keeps shouting out instructions. You could see there that he's upset by what has been done there by the players, so he keeps reminding them of what they need to do. That is Zen. Played for South Africa at the Rugby World Cup in 2015. So he's got quite a lot of experience. Ivory Coast building on the 17 points that they have. Can they get anything? But then the ball is turned over as another heavy boot coming in now from William Nkore. It's going to be a line out to Ivory Coast.
Yeah, just over 6 minutes of play, 6 minutes to the end of this game. It is 37-17 in favor of the Uganda Rugby Cranes. This is the third game of the day. Penalty was called for infringements there, and William Mukore does have a good touch finder on him. He has done that over and over again for the Stanbic Black Pirates on their way to winning the Nile Special Rugby Premiership. So he does find touch, and there the fans are now in full voice. The sun has actually come out. The earlier rains have been, I think, dissipated.
Yeah, they've subsided. And of course, for the fans out there, just get yourself services from Platinum Credit and make the party as lively this evening here at the Nelson Mandela Stadium. Just get yourself Platinum Credit services, get the cash that you need, and call the waiters and the waitresses to really get the feast on. Platinum Credit, one financial service that you can rely on. So just get yourself access to them. And also Rock Boom, very important, especially after you've shouted your voice hoarse. You'll definitely be tired. So if you get yourself a Rock Boom, then you get renewed energy. No question about it. Ball to be fed in here by Koulibaly. Pressure on the scrummage, but Dosso breaks away. It's tackled. Seemed like a high tackle there. And Koulibaly finds Elias. Now, the big boy, Tiene. Good recycling of the ball by the Ivorians here. Dosso trying to fight, but then ball turned over. The Ivorians not about to let up. This play is called back here by the referee. Ivorians clearly looking disappointed, thinking about what it would be like dropping a tire.
Yep, there are about 4 minutes left at the end of this encounter. It is the Uganda Rugby Cranes 37, Cote d'Ivoire 17. Kudos to them. They have scored 3 tries in this game. We have scored their first tries of the tournament in this game against the Uganda Rugby Cranes, who then steadied the ship and have had a very measured performance from the time they went go ahead.
Line out Ivory Coast with 4 minutes to play. Well picked up here by Ibrahim Traore. Shot number 4. Attempting to execute a rolling maul, but Uganda holding its fort here. As you can see that Ismail Martin with ball in hand now changes, and then opportunity for Seni Kone held back. The ruck is secured by Ivory Coast though. Picking it up is Ali Doumbia, pushing in to get that try, but the ball is hanging.
Yeah, and he'll bring it back for an infringement by the Uganda Rugby Cranes coming into that maul on the side. Ivorians there
looking despondent.
Yes.
Elias Koulibaly struck to the ground, still with ball in hand. Play there, and now Doumbia.
That is what Desire Ayera brings. He brings that renewed burst of energy deep on the shoulder, and then the press should be able to get Cote d'Ivoire back and against them. They are playing backwards and they are at the 22 right now.
Yeah, that's pressure coming in from the Rugby Cranes. Yao Watara now. Nakanabo. He finds Ibrahim Traore. And then the ball is lost in contact. So it's a knock-on and Ian Munyani picks it up. And off he goes, finding Shakim Sembusi.
Shakim, burst of energy.
Then the pass, Elias picks it up as Ian Munyani couldn't get to the ball.
Yeah, Shakim Sembusi just couldn't apply the assist to Ian Munyani. Ian Munyani in support, but couldn't gather that pass from Shakim as the ball is kicked. Adrian Casito gets it off his chest.
He heads the tackle. He finds Joseph Aredo,
who brings it back to Adrian Casito. He is the flyer and
he heads the
pass for pace. Adrian Casito
plays it in field to find Timothy Kesiga, and it's now Desire Ayera, and he finds Wandera Brian breaking the lines here. The Rugby Cranes, Brian Wandera goes down. He gets the support of Desire Ayera, but then there's a penalty to Ivory Coast for wrong entry at the ruck.
Yeah, Desire a little bit furious for Brian. Should have actually let the ball go. Adrian Casito, he is very, very quick. He will take that. And he had the presence of mind to look inside. Timothy Chisiga buying his time. And that phase of play ends up Brian Wandera being caught in possession, forcing the attacking player to come in from the side. Penalty with just over a minute to play. And time has stopped. There is an injury break as number 16 from Cote d'Ivoire joins the fray.
Yeah, Boris Ndiomande has been introduced. I guess it's a case of also just trying to give the players playing time. But it's looking really a dejected team now. And the thought of playing in second tier must be quite depressing, and it's line out to Ivory Coast. The Zimbabwe fans already in the stadium, hoping that it will be their side that will book a ticket to the Rugby World Cup in 2027 in Australia. We're yet to see the Namibia fans. On the other hand, this must be Zimbabwe fans, as the line out by Ismail Martin. Dosso picks it up and then he finds Traore, the lock. Traore continues to take the hits here. Of course, now they introduced shirt number 16, that's Boris Ndiomande. Ivory Coast. It's now Koulibaly presents the ball. It now finds Ismail Nakanabo. Now Diomande. And the hooter goes there. Elias Koulibaly. The hook, and then there is a knock on there.
And from that knock on, it is over. The Uganda Rugby Cranes are victorious 37-17 over Cote d'Ivoire, the first win of the tournament. John behind the scene, what do you have to make of this performance?
Well, quite a spirited second half performance. The first half looked pretty tentative by the Rugby Cranes. You look at the second half and you could see that they were playing with a lot more conviction, and you can see what it means to the fans. The fact that the team has maintained its status in the top tier. That is exactly what the fans were hoping for. As you can imagine, the party is just beginning even before the final match that has Zimbabwe and Namibia. You can see all the fans there waving the flags in celebration as the Rugby Cranes finished 7th in the tournament, avoiding the drop. It would have been a disaster had they failed to go to maintain that position in the, as would like to celebrate Nile Special, big sponsors of the national team, being worn on the chest right there. All smiles it is for the Rugby Cranes as they pick up their first win of the tournament. 37-17, 20-point game. But what a long journey it has been for them, with so many bad evenings. This one has turned out to be a fruitful one.
And at full time, it is Uganda Rugby Cranes 37, Cote d'Ivoire 17 in the 7th-8th place playoff, as we have the final loading right after this one. It will be Namibia against Zimbabwe.
Small correction, that trophy is the exact trophy that was lifted by Sia Polisi in the 2023 Rugby World Cup final. So yes, it is that trophy that was lifted by Sia Polisi when South Africa beat New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup final. So yes, it is a real trophy surrounded by heavy security. As we are in this break, we would like to remind you there is a promotion courtesy of Now and Goals. We have 5 bottles of ASB chairman at only 16,000 shillings. So get to enjoy that as well. And we also have a